just wanted to do this kind of fairly short video just to explain a couple of, well, actually one issue I've had on my channel recently. Some of you may have noticed that in a few videos, I think maybe about 6 are affected, where my audio of me speaking is coming out of just the left-hand channel, which obviously is not really ideal, especially if you want to listen to it with headphones or, you know, through speakers, things like that, or anything really. It's not very good, and I'll explain the reason why that happened and how I fixed it, because I think it's also important for in case anybody has that issue themselves. So the way I used to record was using my USB microphone. Plug and play, basically. Plug it in, record, no problems. Okay, pretty simple. I have a Blue Yeti Pro, which has a USB input and an XLR input. If you don't know what XLR is, it's this cable down here. Okay, it's what you use for kind of like more traditional recording. It has a better kind of like, I guess, it has a better quality, I guess you would say, technically. There's arguments to kind of suggest that, you know, either way, but I would say technically that is, it generally has a better quality. Now, the problem I had was that the USB port on my microphone stopped working. Well, it didn't technically stop working, but it was creating this kind of like, it seemed to have a loose connector. It was creating a kind of a fuzz. So it wasn't necessarily a buzz, more of a fuzz. And obviously that's, you know, you can't have that if you're going to be recording. It's, you know, not good enough. So what I decided to do was, I was like, okay, well, I actually had I purchased the microphone for the reason of thinking one day I'm going to upgrade to sort of an XLR setup, because you can do a little bit more with that than you can just a kind of plug and play microphone, especially in terms of, you know, me not wanting to edit things too much or at all, videos as well. So I thought, okay, well, this is kind of like an opportunity now for me to do that. So I picked up an audio interface, because you can't just plug, obviously, this cable into your PC. It doesn't work like that. It has to go through an audio interface which converts its analog signal into digital, and then that goes into your PC. It's not really as complicated as you might think, really. For those of you who care, I picked up a Steinberg UR22 Mark II, which seemed to be pretty decent, give me everything I wanted. It also has 2 inputs as well for microphones, so kind of maybe future-proofs me if I ever want to do something with 2 microphones or anything along those lines. Now, one of the problems, which to be fair I was aware of, is that using a USB plug and play, very easy. Using XLR, when you're recording with things in your PC, especially if you have like a audio interface which has like 2 ports, the audio will only go through the left side. So if you're just recording normally, it only goes to the left side. So I can just plug my audio interface in and just record from that. However, the audio from me speaking will only go through the left side. I did a little bit of research into it, and I found this program here called Voice Meter, which actually allows you to change that. So to keep this very simple, it's not really that complicated, to be completely honest with you, but generally we have a hardware input here. See, this is line 1, line 2 doesn't have anything. That's my Steinberg UR22 Mark II. This is me talking now, and I click the mono, and then that changes me from the left side to mono. So if I take it off, you will probably be able to just hear me through the left side now. When I do this, you'll be able to hear me from both sides. Okay, so that's fine, right? Oh, it's not quite that simple. So just to go through the rest of the stuff here, this is the virtual input. So if I was playing some background music, that would be coming through there. It's kind of fairly simple. If you want to use this software, I recommend the kind of settings-ish that I have here as working. So if I click, all these are, like if I click A, it comes through my headphones. B, make sure it goes to my virtual out. The issue I made was a really dumb one, but when you start learning new things, you often make these little mistakes. So the issue I made was I record with Shadowplay, but not only Shadowplay, I record with Elgato as well. The problem I have is when selecting what microphone it uses, it was using just straight out the input from the audio interface. I needed to change it to the voice meter output. That way it would go mono. Okay, so I think I've already done it on here. You go to customize and then you choose your record. Simple, right? Yeah, so I appreciate I'm a massive donut for that, but whenever you are trying to learn new things and doing them, often you make a mistake. Now, you might be wondering, well, hang on a minute, how come it took you 6 videos to realise that it wasn't coming out through the left side? Well, because I made another mistake. I had mono clicked over here, which meant that everything I was hearing was in mono, even though when the actual final thing came, it wasn't in mono. So it wasn't until I actually played it on my laptop to test it out and went, uh-oh, I realised like the 5 or 6 videos I had recorded, it was actually more, but I actually scrapped a couple and restarted them. But there was some which I couldn't really restart. It wasn't until that point that I realised what I'd done, so apologies. I mean, in the big scheme of things, I guess it's not the end of the world. It's better to have that than no audio, I guess, or to have audio with a buzz from it, or a fuzz, whatever you want to do. So, yeah, that's really simply what happened. Now, obviously, I've fixed it. I'm going to continue to kind of, I guess, tinker and have a look at what I can do and the quality and stuff like that of the audio and levels, stuff like that. So just bear with me a little bit on that type of thing. I don't have exhausting amount of hours. It already took me like half a day to set all this up and do everything on there. So yeah, you know, I don't have like, yeah, this is my full-time job, so you know, testing out things, doing stuff like that, sometimes I have to do a little bit on the fly. So yeah, bear with me, but I think ultimately what it will mean is better sound quality. But the other thing which is really cool is that I actually can adjust the volume of games through this mixer now. So one of the problems I've had in the past with video games is that their volume levels on the actual game doesn't go down far enough. So a prime example of that is something like Astroneer. I love playing Astroneer, but the problem with it is that if for some reason, I don't know if it's just me, but the volume levels don't even work in the game, like that in the option menu, so I can't turn it down. So when you use Shadowplay, you don't have an option to change the levels of your the input, the sound is done through whatever the game is playing. So if you can't adjust the sound of the game, it's going to be really loud. Obviously, if I'm whispering, it's just completely out of whack. But I can actually use this slider here to adjust the volume level of that and adjust the volume level of my voice as well as it's coming through, which is actually really good. So I won't ever have that problem again where, you know, a game won't be able to go down to a level that I feel is appropriate for recording. And I always want to try and continue using Shadowplay because in my opinion it is like, in terms of performance, it's basically doesn't lose you any like performance of your computer while recording, which can be a problem with other things. And it's really simple to set up, and the I can record up to 4K in it as well, and that's also virtually lossless like performance. And I think the quality of it, I think you guys will agree, the quality of videos that you get from it is actually really, really good. So I really like using Shadowplay, and that was the one downside to it. Whereas if you use something else, I guess like OBS or something like that, you can adjust that a lot more, but it's a lot more complicated, and I've never been happy with the quality I've got from OBS, which yes is probably down to the way I'm setting it up, but then goes back to my point of being that Shadowplay is nice and simple, and I've always had a motto to try and keep things as simple as possible on my channel, because like the more complicated things you have, the more goes wrong, as I have shown by having doing this. Now, this was a kind of a necessary evil, as I say. It wasn't like I just went, USB microphone's no longer good enough, I'm going to go this way, because there are a few things which are worse in using this. So, for example, particularly on my Yeti Pro, I used to be able to just mute the microphone if I had to cough or there was a loud noise or something like that, or I could just mute it and then carry on, and I can't do that now. So I have to kind of like, what I'll probably do, I guess, at the minute I have two monitors set up on my desk. I have the main monitor I use for my PC stuff, and then I have a second monitor which I use to play the console stuff I record. I have got a third monitor, so I may need to set up a 3-monitor desk, and then have it as, then I can have this on the side, and then when I want to, I can just click mute and do whatever there that I need to do. So obviously there's like different options, stuff like that, which I can do. So yeah, as I say, just in case you ever have the same issue, or wanted to set out and you were like, oh, this is a bummer, it only plays to the left side. This voice meter, by the way, this is free, free download as well. You can donate as well, which obviously I recommend if you're going to be using it a lot, especially if you're going to be using it to do something that you make money off of. It's always nice to give back when people put effort to do something which saves you a lot of heartache, because realistically, if it wasn't for this program, and it's the only program I've seen so far that does it, or if it wasn't for, if there are others programs similar to this, I'd be stuck in a situation where I'd either A, have to buy a new microphone, which would be expensive, or B, I would have to edit all my videos and then change it in editing to switch it round, which I don't like doing, because editing, like, I don't have a problem with the edit, okay? I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is how long it flipping takes to then make that file, to render it. It's like, oh, and you basically just can't use your computer in that time. So the E3 one I did, I have a good computer as well, but the E3 video I did, which would have gone up already, even though it's just me talking and then a few pictures in the background, it was 45 minutes, and I'm like, geez Louise, 45 minutes just for that. It's not even anything moving. When I used to edit stuff, like when I have had to edit things, if it's an hour-long video or something like that, then it takes like 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, and yeah, I don't like it. that's my problem with it. Obviously, there would be ways I could work around that. I could have a second computer for editing. I do actually have a second computer, weirdly enough. So, I could use that to just edit and have that running. But, it's all adding complex to things. And, hopefully what this means is that it actually gives me some quality of life improvements and some quality of video improvements as well in terms of the audio stuff. And we only had a minor little hiccup with it, so yeah, apologies for that, as I said. But these things do happen sometimes, and I generally like, the thing is, I could scrap all those videos and then just kind of restart, but number one, I play the games and record on this channel because I really enjoy doing that, and if I go back and re-record, the enjoyment's not there because I'm just playing the same thing over. And also you then have that problem of like, exactly what's coming up, and even though I've played some of the games which I play on here before, like, say for example, like there was a Star Wars episode where it happened, Knights of the Old Republic. Well, I haven't played that game for years, so it's kind of almost like playing a new game. There's little bits which I'm remembering as I go through, but it's certainly not everything that happens in the game. So I don't necessarily want to keep re-record an hour-long video of that issue. So again, apologies for that. It's not ideal, but that's what happened. So just to let you guys know anyway, because I know I've had a few comments. I've tried to answer all of them to let you know, but just in case you're wondering, and also maybe if you have a setup like this where you're trying to use an XLR but having the same issue, then feel free to ask any questions you like, because I don't think that there are very good videos out there on YouTube discussing how this actually can work, that I could find anyway. So yeah, just let me know anyway. But thanks a lot as always, and I'll catch you soon.